Welcome to Verbal Diary, the podcast, with your hosts, Cy Joblin and James Norton. Strap yourself in for the rants and bants.
Have you been having some trouble with your internet today?
Internet, microphones, headphones, speakers, computers.
Right, I am going to make it my mission to sort out your internet problems.
Sort me out, son.
I'm going to sort you out, son. And I think what you should do is go to a mesh network with a wired backhaul.
Okay, these sound like very impressive
Because
words.
you've got thick walls in your house, haven't you?
Got thick, all sorts of things, but yeah, walls as well.
You struggle with good Wi-Fi, yeah?
Yep.
Fine.
Yep.
So I think you should try something like... I'm going to send you a link.
Ooh,
I'm going to send you a link
exciting.
to... I don't know if this is the best system. I haven't done the research for you. But I'm just putting a link in. I don't know if you've got enough internet to receive this link, but try.
I'm plugged into the internet right now. This is how bad it's got.
So,
Received.
So this isn't going to be a cheap solution, but it could well be a good solution.
Okay. Yeah, it's not too bad.
So
It works.
the idea with a mesh network, I don't know if you... Do you know what a mesh network is?
You've explained it in the past, but I do need to probably look at some diagrams, some pretty pictures to make it.
Well,
make
I
more
don't
sense.
have any pictures, but I'll have another go at explaining it for you. Basically,
Hit it.
you have multiple Wi-Fi access points that all form one network, and the access points themselves talk to each other, ideally over a separate channel to the ones that your computers, phones, etc. connect to your Wi-Fi access points. So that it doesn't matter which point you're connected to, you should get high-speed internet. And it's all one network, so as you move around your house, you should switch between the access points seamlessly. That's the clever bit.
Should. The optimal word.
Well,
should.
I've got a mesh network at home, and it works perfectly. I've never had any
And
problems.
how many? So, looking at this set, there is a pack of 2 discs. How many do you have around your?
Well, I don't
house?
have this particular system, but I have a 2-pack. I have 2.
Okay.
But I don't have thick walls and things. I have one dead zone in my house, and I'm using the mesh system to cure the dead zone. And I bought mine.
Okay.
It was an open box Amazon warehouse, but basically it was brand new, and it was a system that was significantly more expensive than the one I've sent to you, but I got it for next to nothing. So you might have to do a bit of hunting around for something like that. But the thing that might help you the most is to have a wired backhaul. So basically, you've got the multiple access points are transmitting, or broadcasting, I should say, a Wi-Fi network which your phones and tablets and laptops and whatever connect to. But they also have a separate little network that allows the multiple access points to talk to each other. And that's called the backhaul. So you've got one access point which is connected to your router to get internet.
Yeah.
The other one, the second access point, isn't connected to your router, so it has to be able to talk to the primary access point to get access to the actual internet. And it does that via the backhaul channel.
Like an extender almost.
It's not an extender. It's much better than an extender because the backhaul
Yeah,
signals tend to be much faster. But you can also get some where that backhaul is done over a wired connection. So if you're on one of your remote access points, you connect to that. That connects over a wire directly to your router. So basically, you created a proper wired backhaul system that it should make it much faster. And you may need to have a look at some Powerline Ethernet. Don't know if you've ever looked at that.
Okay.
To create.
Tried them. Yeah.
You tried them.
Don't work in our house either.
They don't work in your house either.
Nope. We've got different electric circuits, I think, in the property, so they don't go all the way around.
That could be an issue. Well,
yeah, and bear in mind this property is hundreds of years old, so the wiring is probably quite out of date as well.
Okay, well, it's still worth trying one of these systems. The one I've sent you, which is the BT Whole Home Wi-Fi pack of 2 discs, it is a pretty good system. It's got quite good ratings. I don't know if it has a dedicated backhaul channel, but that's going to be the critical thing for you. And yeah, you actually set this up in such a way that hopefully, this can prove to be a good thing for you. And what you want is you ideally want a system that includes beamforming as well. So beamforming is where the Wi-Fi antennas can detect where the device is. So if you're connected with your phone, it can actually tell in which direction your phone is coming from, and it increases the signal strength in that specific direction. So you ideally want beamforming. But what we'll do is I'm going to come and visit you. You're going to feed me a pie and mash in a typical northern way.
Some local dish.
And and then I'll bring I'll bring a mesh system for you to try out.
Sounds amazing.
So you can try that one. The one that I've got, I use. Let's see what deals are on it. I'm very happy with it. Although it does occasionally need rebooting. But overall, I'm very, very happy with it. I use the Netgear Orbi system. Yeah. I'm just going to say, actually, it's not too bad. It's up for £150, this system. Just sending you a link now. I got it for about 80 quid.
Okay.
Because, like I say, it was an open box deal. And I've been very happy with it. Now, interestingly, the Orbi system, the individual units are not quite as fast as the BT one that I've sent you. But the backhaul is very good.
Right.
It's got a proper dedicated backhaul.
I've heard of Orbi.
And for my needs, it's perfect.
I've heard of them.
So it might be that you need 3 units as well in order to get good coverage in your house. It might be that you say, well, 2 units and I'll get what I can out of that, and that's enough because maybe you don't care so much about the bedroom.
Bedroom's less important. It's more the downstairs rooms, living room and dining area.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to find that the bedroom is the most important room in the house for me. But
no comment.
It's where I sleep.
Where you need your internet most fastest.
That's where I need my internet to be at its absolute peak.
Excellent.
But can I just say as well, it's an absolute pleasure to be able to record a podcast with you where I can actually see you clearly, hear you properly, and there's no internet problems because you are sitting there wired into your internet connection.
And I've got a proper signal for once.
I think that's fantastic.
Thank you.
So, anyway, other than the stress of your internet connection, how are you this week?
I'm okay. What's been going on? We've booked a holiday. That is the biggest news. We are heading off to LA next month as well.
LA?
Not just a little holiday, a big holiday.
Wow.
Yeah, we had very simple requirements: sunshine, and relaxation. So, we didn't really want to go to Europe, being the current situation at the moment.
So you've chosen to go to America, where the idea of relaxation is perhaps shooting a few random tourists.
Wait, that isn't for you. That sounds ideal. No, well, we just wanted to get away with the kids, have a nice big holiday to remember. A couple of weeks, really. Make the most of the journey. Looking at America, though, the flights weren't too bad, comparable to Europe. So we just thought, well, might as well. The extra time on the plane, give them an iPad that's fully loaded. What's the difference? So, looking forward to that.
So, what are you going to do in LA?
We are going to do the tourist thing, Disneyland or Disney World, I think it is out there. Universal, sightseeing. The studios. Just lap it all up, really. We've booked a nice Airbnb, a nice big one, plenty of rooms. Just need a time out, bit of sunshine, enjoy. So
sounds amazing.
Cannot wait. So yeah, we'll have a few weeks out in April. We'll probably have to arrange our recordings accordingly. So
we're going to have a change of schedule.
Probably, yes. We'll work something out. So
not that we're keeping to our schedule at the moment.
Hey, we're doing okay. We can just about get this in. How about you, sir? How are you doing?
I am okay. It's just ticking over as one does. Nothing particularly exciting. Yeah, just
yeah.
I don't really have anything to report. It's been a particularly unexciting week.
Oh, mate. We need to make something happen in your life, don't we?
Yes, please.
Yes, please. And what have you been watching lately? You seen anything on TV or movies?
No.
Oh, dear.
I've seen nothing. Nothing.
Nothing.
I watched... So, last week, I sat down with my little one.
Yep.
Who's 7 years old, and we watched Flight of the Navigator.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Great film. I love Flight of the
That's
Navigator.
such a good movie.
I'm not sure she was that into it, but I love it.
That's great.
So I was very happy. Like I said, I'm not quite sure how happy she was, but hey ho.
Hey, she's learning though of what we grew up on.
Indeed.
We were watching the new Ricky Gervais thing on Netflix last week. That was quite good. Afterlife. Not a massive fan of him normally, but I heard
I was just about to say the same
about the show. So we gave it a go, and yeah, it was very, very good. He plays that character very well, and the humour's very dark, but there's a lot of hidden meaning behind the story as well. But yeah, it was good. What's the other thing we started watching? Curfew on Sky 1, I think it is. That's like a really sort of dystopian near future car race sort of thing. It's just a lot of 80s and 90s references all bundled together. It's quite clever actually. We are enjoying that.
Very good.
So yeah, good. Shall we move on to the next part of the show then?
I don't think we have a lot of news, so
it's pretty quiet.
Why not?
Why
not? Let's move on to the article of the week.
Cue jingle.
Verbal Diary with Si and James.
So my turn this week, and I've decided not to cheat entirely. I've been cheating the last few weeks on this, but I think I've already sent you the link. Have you got it, or do you need me to send it to you again? Right, brilliant. So the article itself is not one that I'm particularly going to discuss in detail because I'm more interested in sort of the principles behind it all. But basically, it's a press release from the European Commission. So bear with me, try and stay awake.
Get political here.
So it's not political.
Good.
But it could be.
Okay.
The article's about the EU fining Google $1.4 billion, not dollars, euros, 1.49 billion euros for abusive practices in online advertising. And really what I wanted to bring up around this is not the fine. And I don't know anything about the law that goes behind antitrust in Europe or America. I've got no idea. I don't want to get into that particularly. The thing I'm interested in, and part of it is also that there's been a fallout that apparently Google are going to have to do a special European version of Android with a browser selection screen. Does that remind you of anyone?
Oh, interesting. Thinking face. Yes.
Yes. So we'll come back onto that. Is 1.49 billion euros a meaningful fine?
Oh, to the likes of Google, probably not. Considering how much they make in these channels. It's their main channel, right? The adverts.
Yeah.
Will it make a difference? Probably not. Will it shine a light on it? Momentarily. But they'll get around it. It's just typical advertising world, right? They don't ever seem to learn. And tech giants definitely don't give a shit if they can make more money out of it.
What do you think happened to Google's shares after this was all announced?
A minor blip. Oh God. Personally, I've not checked. Have you got any insights?
They went up.
Excellent.
So I think the one thing that highlights, something I've sort of been aware of, is actually the uncertainty of the investigation that was going on in the EU probably caused the shares to stay a bit flatter than they would have otherwise. And it being over, regardless of the result, allows for a little bit more certainty, and the market really loves certainty. It's interesting. The bit that I wanted to raise was the size of the fine, and then what are the realistic routes that a government or any legal body has to sort of curtail the practices of a large company. But I think this fine is meaningless.
Whoa. I've just Googled Google share price, and the Wikipedia page suggests their revenue at the moment is $136 billion US. That's for last year.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it's not even a percent. It's about a percent.
Just under 1%. Yeah, just over 1%.
Maybe 1.5%, something like that. But it's not. I don't think this is a particularly meaningful.
Fine.
And yeah. So I'm not really sure why they bothered with this fine. I think it needed to be probably 10 times bigger, or not bother at all. But do these big and there is another piece to all of this, which is I don't know if you heard about what Elizabeth Warren was saying in the US over the last couple of weeks.
No.
So she is a Democrat candidate for the presidential race for 2020.
Okay.
And she has come out and said that the tech giants, so Facebook, Amazon, Google, and apparently Apple as well, she would like to split them up, break them up.
Oh.
Because they're too powerful. And I think it's all in the same vein of how do we regulate, how should we deal with these uber powerful entities that exist today, which are not entirely benevolent.
It's a very good point. I was reading Wired magazine a few weeks ago, and there's a piece in there about the Chinese conglomerate, I think the word is. I can't remember the name of them, though. I'm going to have to do some research.
Alibaba?
Well, it's the people that own Alibaba or have a large stakeholder in it. So, yeah, I'm trying to remember the name, but it was an interview with it's a very interesting
Alibaba's
research.
a public company, isn't it?
So it's one of the main stakeholders, if not
Jack Ma. I mean, Jack Ma is the owner of, or was the founder of Alibaba.
No, it's not that.
Maybe it's not Alibaba at all.
Oh, parent organisation is Alibaba Group.
Anyway, your
point being, there's an organisation that's trying to take over. They've got they bought out the microprocessor chip, the UK company last year, which came as a bit of a shock as well. ARM Technologies, is it?
Oh. Really?
ARM Technology, yeah. I'm babbling a little bit here.
But it was a Japanese company.
Sorry. SoftBank, that's it. Yes, SoftBank. So SoftBank had just slowly taken over most big corps across the world. And it is, again, worrying what they're aiming for, because they just want to have a piece of the pie across that entire world of tech. And then when you're thinking about Google and Amazon and Apple owning us, actually, they're probably not as bad as people like these, SoftBank. What we can do about it, I don't know. But they need to put some legislation in place to maybe put a cap on how big you can be.
Why?
Why? Because no one should have that much control and power over the world. It's risky. I don't trust these sort of people, though. That's the problem. If they were doing it for the greater good, amazing. No one ever does this stuff for the greater good, do they? They do it for self-indulgence, egotistical, sort of maniac,
Well, they're doing it to make money.
Yeah, for their own benefit.
But should we punish companies for being super successful?
No, but they should not have the free reign to almost do what they want. I think if you're good at something, be good at it. Absolutely fine. Tim Cook, Apple, knows what he's good at. What is Apple's vision though, going forward? Tim Apple took it off Steve Jobs, obviously. And Jobs was a bit of a nut job. There's no denying that, right? Where he wanted to be, where he was taking Apple, questionable. What's Tim doing about it? Do we know?
Are
you lost?
I'm not sure what you're referring to.
What is his vision? Google had that awful vision of, don't be evil, which was absolute bollocks.
That wasn't their vision. That was their
mantra.
Sort of ethos. Yeah, their mantra. Their vision was organize the world's information.
Okay.
And I think that's a really good, a really laudable aim. The thing is, so can we measure the positive and the negative that these companies have brought to us as a society, and I think that's a real challenge. I think you've got some companies. I would argue Facebook is one of them that I think are just kind of. I don't want to use the word evil, but I can't think of a better word right now. And then I think you've got other companies, and I think they're not on ends of a spectrum, but I think Apple and Google and companies like Microsoft, for instance, are not the same as Facebook. Amazon, I'm not less certain about, but I think the problem with what Elizabeth Warren wants to do in America is that she will cause more problems than she's going to solve with her plan, because can these companies actually be broken up in a meaningful way? With Facebook, again, I actually think Facebook can. So you could take away WhatsApp, you could take away Instagram, and I think that's probably enough. There's maybe some other bits of Facebook you could spin out, but if you made them separate companies again, I think that would be good. And I think it's questionable looking back as to whether both of those acquisitions should have been allowed. But how would you split Apple up in a meaningful way that actually still allows functional businesses, but goes from one uber huge, biggest company in the world again, as we sit here, to at least by market cap, to something smaller, multiple smaller businesses? I don't really know how you do that. And these sorts of regulations and fines, I think it's right that Google should get some level of checks and balances on what it's doing. I'm not sure that a 1.49 billion euro fine is going to make much of a difference, but I do believe we need to make sure these companies aren't operating in an anti-competitive way. But yeah, my point here is it's not straightforward. It's quite the opposite of straightforward. Would the world be better off without what Google offers today? Or would we actually be quite a bit worse off? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Google's organisation, they created Alphabet, didn't they, to sort of start doing this and making it into naturally organised setup. Whether it worked that well, I don't know. And for example, they had the Boston Robotics, didn't they, at one point, and then they sold that off last year, I think it was, eventually.
Right.
So that was a strand of Google that kind of became a self-contained organisation. They gave it that independence, essentially, and then eventually it was sold off. With Apple doing it, I'm thinking about it. I mean, potentially, their biggest market cap is in mobile devices, right? That's probably
Apple.
Yeah.
Well, their biggest revenue stream is about 60-something% of their business.
Will be mobile, so that could be a self-contained part of their organisation, and with software as another.
Could it be though?
And then
could it be though? What about iOS? What about the App Store?
Well, that's what I mean.
Do those go with it?
Well, that I think the software element would be a different organisation. But there's obviously close links.
But the strength of the business is founded on the integration between hardware and software. So if you take that away, you're fundamentally changing product, which that's not what you want to do if you're trying to control a business or break it up or any of those sorts of things. You're not looking to change the product. You're just looking to change to separate, to have multiple different businesses that can compete against each other or open up competition for others. I think Apple's the hardest to split up
because it's also integrated.
It's also integrated. So if you say, okay, we'll take the iPhone. Okay, well, you've got to have iOS go with it. Otherwise, you're fundamentally changing the nature of the product, which means you've got to have the App Store, which means you've got to have the iPad.
Yep.
Which means you've got to have the Apple TV, which means you've got to have the Apple Watch. And maybe the Mac is a separate business line. I don't know. I don't know how that looks. All of the services elements of Apple, I don't know if they're viable separate businesses. There's so many different ways of looking at this. But I'm not sure any of them work for Apple. I'm not sure they work that well for Google either. Facebook, different. And Amazon, maybe you could split AWS off from the core Amazon retail, for Amazon Web Services, which is their cloud computing platform. Maybe. But I don't think splitting them up is very easy.
No, not at all. I don't think there's a logical way of doing it, which is why it's not happened. So good luck to this, whatever her face was. You just mentioned Elizabeth.
Elizabeth Warren, yeah. So overall, my comment here is, we probably should have fined Google 10 times what they were fined.
Well, if you want to make a meaningful impact, yes. Going back to the point of why they did it, then there's opportunities to make that a lot more straightforward, I think, but they just won't do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk about the why because I don't know enough about it, but certainly in terms of how much, I think they should have fined them 10 times as much. And if you're listening, whoever decides this stuff in the EU, I'm happy to take a small cut for my contribution here. I'll take 0.1% of the fine.
Yeah, as
my cut.
It's a fair bill. So straight-faced, brilliant.
So basically, I'd be really interested to know what our listeners think. Do you think that a fine of this level has any impact on a business of the size of Google's? And let's not make it about Google versus anyone else. Let's instead make it about how can we appropriately apply the law, antitrust law in this case, to a company and give them a punishment that's meaningful. So let's not make it one company versus another.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got any ideas on this, please tweet at us at Nautilus, using the hashtag #BigFines.
Oh wow, that's a nice short hashtag.
I'm changing my ways.
Good boy. Loving it. Good stuff. Right, good topic actually. I think we could go on and on about that, and I'm trying to keep this to our 20 minutes. And whether we will, I don't know.
We won't.
No, but let's try. Let's move on to the next segment.
I think we're already 20 minutes in, and now we can move on to your
picture of the week. I'll try to sing it a little bit. I've not really got the best voice, but I've got the best mic for it today.
Sorry, I'll cut it out.
Verbal Diary with Si and James.
I'm going to send you my picture of the week. It's flying through the airwaves down to my slow router, and it should be arriving in your messaging app of choice.
It's an Instagram pic.
It's an Instagram pic again,
which I have to say is very relevant. Talking about Facebook and splitting off Instagram.
Yeah, let's get rid of that.
Very interesting. I like this picture.
This is a brilliant picture with quite an even better backstory as well. So last week, so because I'm on my 2 week. Last week, I made a bit of a faux pas en route home. Got the wrong train home from London Euston. Running for it, last minute, obviously. The train manager said, "Quick, get on," and I did. They did ticket checks, and I just sat in the seat comfortably. I gave it about 45 minutes and started to realise, hang on a minute, the train probably should have stopped by now. Looked out the window. I'd gone past my normal stop. I was flying through the next town north from me. Panic. Went and found the train manager. Said, where are we going? I'm not on the right train. He said, oh, well, next stop will be Warrington, sir. Okay, that's definitely not the Midlands. That's more north than I'm used to, let alone you.
So give us some context. How far north is Warrington compared to where you would normally look to be getting off the train?
So Warrington, I think, is an extra 100 miles from where I go to.
100 miles?
Yes.
And how long did it take to get to Warrington?
Actually, scarily fast. So leaving Euston, got to Warrington within about an hour and 40 minutes, I think it was. So it was pretty impressive speed, obviously. Now these guys, this is up near Liverpool. It's the way she said, the train manager said to me, she goes, "Oh, we don't stop in the Midlands." I was like, blimey, where are you going? So yeah, I went all the way up to Warrington by mistake. And unfortunately, the journey back I had to wait over an hour and a half as well. It was about an hour normal, but then there were delays as well. So I didn't get home till nearly 10 o'clock. But anyway, going back to the photo, while I was waiting around at the station, I just noticed a train coming through slowly. and on the back of it, they had railway tracks on top of the railway. I thought, what a wonderful image. I must take a photograph quick. And
so meta.
I know. But I mean, I made a comment in my Instagram. It feels very Wallace and Gromit. It's like when Gromit's on top of the train, putting his tracks down while he's going around the house. I just wanted to imagine like there was a crane at the front of the train, taking a track and continue to build it as it goes along. I don't think it was, but the idea is delightful. And I'm quite proud of the parallel lines I've got in this composure as well. It's particularly straight across all. Yeah, a whole vertical. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that one?
I really like this picture. I like the story because I think I'm just, I felt bad for you at the time, but it is quite hilarious.
It is really. I had to laugh, otherwise I'd cry.
Quite. So I like the story. I do enjoy the picture. I hadn't actually noticed the points you're making about the composition, but well played, sir.
Thank you.
Well played. I think it's a great little picture. I think it's exactly what the sort of picture I envisaged when we came up with this format with the picture of the week. It's something with a story and something of interest. And it is. I'd never really thought. I wonder if they ship new train tracks using trains. Of course, they've got to get them from wherever they're produced, wherever they're made, to wherever they're needed. And so it's lovely.
To be honest,
really enjoyed that.
I didn't expect it to be, actually assembled like that. I thought that the pillars would be going separately to the actual steel tracks, so it wouldn't be pre-built almost. It's literally like flat pack railway. So that's why I was surprised. It looks great though, and when you see it stacked up on top of the train, so delightful. And something a little bit Lego fantastic about it.
I really like that. Lovely, good picture that.
Good. Glad you appreciate that one. So we'll get that on the show notes for anyone else that wants to have a look.
I think that's absolutely lovely.
Yeah, I think the backstory just makes it even better. my misfortune.
I really felt for you. You were messaging me as you were,
stuck
shooting past your station, and yeah, I felt for you. I had to laugh as well.
Of course you
did.
I felt
for you,
as all good friends would. Thing is, I got to Warrington. I was like, I need something to eat. I'm going to be waiting around. So I walked into town, which was about 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Nothing was open. There was nothing. Even Burger King doors were locked. I was like, I'm going to have to go to McDonald's.
No, Burger King?
I know. So I went to McDonald's against my absolute... I hate McDonald's, but I needed something to eat. I had the worst French fries of my life. But yeah.
Wow.
Adds to the experience, right?
That's bad. You've got bad chips.
Terrible chips. They're so salty. Horrible.
Was there gravy?
They should have offered gravy. I was up north.
No gravy.
I've got friends in Warrington as well, so I messaged them when I got there. It's like, I'm in your town. I'm probably going home the next half an hour. If you're in the area, join.
And were they?
No.
Good picture. Thank you for that.
Glad you appreciate. Good.
So, should we wrap it up?
Sure. Well, are we good? Have we got a name for this one yet?
Ooh.
We could just call it ooh. Sounds like a choo-choo
what
train.
What about
heavy metal?
Heavy metal, fine. Like it.
I saw that hashtag in my image. It makes perfect sense now.
Heavy metal. Let's do it.
Heavy metal. Yeah, that'll do, I think. So
that'll do.
That'll do, son. See, I've been up north too much. I'm really sponging it up.
Should we wrap it up? Do you want to do the socials?
I'll do the socials. Good stuff. So if you want to follow us or get in contact, you can tweet us at Sci, at Nautals, or at Verbal Diary Show. We are on that Facebook. We're no longer on Google Plus because that dies this week. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, and YouTube. And I think that is all the socials.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job. So are we done?
I think we're done.
We're done.